and forward will be the NFL draft. We're 3 days away. Let's play Fact or Fiction. Orlovsky, if I said the Dallas Cowboys need to draft a wide receiver in round 1, is that fact or fiction?
That's fact. Ted McMillan out of Arizona is an intriguing guy just because of his frame. Matthew Golden out of Texas, his vertical speed. CeeDee Lamb's sensational. But there's no point in only having a number 1 wide receiver if that's the only thing that you have. Emeka Egbuka being that number 2 guy out of Ohio State. Dak Prescott had to force the football last year to CeeDee Lamb. They need someone opposite CeeDee to take advantage of it rather than force him the ball.
D-Wood, I've always found this an interesting one. Wide receiver, I guess, is no longer a luxury, right? If you're the Cowboys, you have a variety of holes, and they do. How would you feel about them taking a wide receiver with that 12th pick in this draft? D-Wood, is that the right direction for Dallas to go?
Seems a little rich considering this wide receiver draft is not highly heralded, but I get Dan's point here. I mean, the discrepancy between, CeeDee Lamb and their number 2 was just like it was like a canyon. They need to address the number 2 position. You could make the case they could go running back in this draft. There's no, I think that's an option as well. But they have to find a number 2 receiver via either the draft or somewhere in the rest of free agency, because Dallas offense doesn't operate at the level we've been accustomed to seeing without another viable weapon opposite CeeDee Lamb.
Doesn't feel like Ashton Jeanty will fall to them at 12. If he did, that would be an interesting conversation.
They do have 10 picks, right?
Yeah.
They could move up to get somebody. Wide receiver, I think they could go wide receiver at 12. They know they need a number 2. McMillan and Matthew Golden, both worth watching there. But if the value's there, I could also see them doing defensive line or corner at that spot.
Graziano, you get the next one. Let's go to Chicago. The fans, they're fired up. They have the 10th pick. If I said the Bears will
respect for the rest of the division, right? You had 3 playoff teams in that division last year, and obviously the Bears were not one of them. So fighting up
what they're going to do. If the running back is sitting there at 10, Dan, should they take him?
I like Jeanty there. I like Tyler Warren a little bit more. I would say fiction on the quad tackle, ability to run away from people. This is an offense under Ben Johnson that's going to try to emulate the run game that Detroit had. They don't have a very much so in the pocket operational quarterback that plays on time and rhythm. Is he capable of doing it? Yes. Will he do it consistently? That's to be determined. If he does, I think the Bears become a playoff football team.
Are they more likely, very quickly, Dan, is he more likely to take that step if they have the unbelievable running back behind him, or if they have another weapon in the middle of the field like Tyler Warren at tight end?
Another weapon in the middle of the field like Tyler Warren at tight end, but it more so is going to be upon the offensive line and then his own growth and timing.
All right, and then D-Wood, here's the last fact or fiction. If I said there will be 4 quarterbacks drafted Thursday night, which means round 1, is that fact or fiction?
Green, I tend to lean fact here because we know that the quarterback position obviously is the most important position in football, and those guys tend to be pushed up. And you look at a situation like what the New Orleans Saints are dealing with the Pittsburgh Steelers are dealing with. There are going to be teams, particularly in the back half of the first round, they'll have an opportunity to trade up for one of these guys, because obviously you get what comes with the first round quarterback, that 5th-year option. So I think we're going to see some of these guys get picked in the back half of the first round.
Graziano, these are things that one can wager on. At ESPN Bet, at last check, the over-under was 2.5 quarterbacks in round 1. You do not bet on these things. I'll put that out there. But if you were to lean one way or the other on that, which way would you lean?
If asked this question, fact or fiction, I would definitely lean fiction in terms of 4 quarterbacks being taken in the first round. I don't get the sense that teams are very excited about this group of quarterbacks after Cam Ward, who we all believe will be gone at number 1. So I would think 3 is probably the most you'll see, and I think even that at this point would surprise me.
And again, Danny, and we opened the show with this. Everything hinges on what happens to me at the very beginning. If the Giants take the quarterback at 3, which
that changes everything.
That changes that, right? Then all of a sudden, I think 4 in the first round, even 5 in the first round is in play. If we don't get the Giants, they really, Dan, it feels to me like 3 will determine everything with regard to that the rest of the night.
Totally agree with what happens at 3, kind of can send a domino effect that is going to be very shocking. I also think the Saints at 9. If the Saints take a quarterback at 9, we will get fireworks.
And
I don't think they're going to.
And which quarterback? Right. Everyone is telling me they're not going to. And if they do, which quarterback could they take? Which will lead
the ball in the middle of the field. He's athletic enough to be able to create some stuff outside of the pocket, and there's a lot of physical talent that goes with his game.
What a story he is, beginning his college career at Incarnate Word and now working all his way to becoming the #1 pick in the draft. All right, Shedeur Sanders, the most talked about player in the draft. What do you see as his ceiling?
I think he's a quarterback that you can win games with. We've fallen in love and kind of faked ourselves into believing there's only one way to play quarterback in the league and to win with and to draft with, but we're seeing Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield and Bo Nix, that guys that you, as long as a good offensive line, good people around him, good play caller, can win with. I think Shedeur, with his timing, rhythm, how smart he is and plays on time, how tough he is, I think he's a quarterback you win a lot of games with.
Now remember that Goff and Mayfield were both the first picks in their respective drafts. And then let's go to Jackson Dart, who's another total wild card in this first-round conversation. What do you see as his ceiling?
Yeah, for me, he's the guy that 2 or 3 years from now we look back and go, man, people are wrong on him. He's the steal of the draft, essentially. I just believe, Greeny, when you watch his tape, he's so similar to Bo Nix last year, and wow, a lot better than I had anticipated. I think you got to build crossers into his game. Ole Miss did it a ton, and his ability to see the defense with the ball fake and that backside defender, what type of throw is needed. He sits a little bit of a touch throw, work in the middle of the field. I think Kellen Moore and crossers, man coverage, peeks the backside tight end, sees the corner at the bottom screen, run with the tight end. That tells the quarterback, I have man-to-man coverage. Now you have a trailing defender, so that ball has to be thrown with a little bit more of a firm type of ball, led to space. Beautiful throw, open to that receiver on that crosser. Teams who drafted Jackson Dart, the team, will have to make this a part of their offense. Same type of thought process. That crosser, this time, that backside defender sits there. You see the ball get firmed right now. And then arm strength. When you're drafting these guys, arm strength is a necessary thing in the first round. This ball's bottom of the hash. That ball is out of his hands before that receiver is going to run an out route. It's about a 24-yard throw, and it's thrown on a line right on that guy's face mask. So when you're talking about a guy that has physical traits, sees the field well, wasn't given a lot when it comes to easy offense, the ball had to get pushed down the field. For me, since day one, it's been Jackson Dart as the intrigue.
Listen, is Jackson Dart going to get drafted in round 1? I have no idea. Speaking of him, I want to read you something from Field Yates, who gave a bold prediction in his article on ESPN.com. He wrote, Dart, or even Tyler Shuck, could go ahead of Sanders, meaning Shedeur, as QB2. I've spoken with people around the league who think it's possible Dart winds up following Miami's Cam Ward among the passers. Regardless of how highly rated a QB is on our own boards, the order they are taken is going to be decided by a small group of QB-needy teams that see each of them differently. And I guess that, Graziano, is I've been trying to say this, and he just said it pretty nice and concisely there, Field, that if we were to do all these things by consensus, then there would be no question that Shedeur Sanders would be the second quarterback off the board.
Probably.
Right? But these things aren't done by consensus. No. You don't have to get like every team to agree on something. You just need one team to like one guy better than another guy, and that guy could easily be Dart.
Yeah, they don't have a meeting where all 32 teams show up and they set the order. Like it's if the Saints pass at 9 and the Steelers pass at 21 and there's only one quarterback taken in the first round, then the question of who the second quarterback is up to whoever picks one next. And if the Browns or the